This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. This episode of Harry Potter and the Boys is sponsored by patreon.com/radiomike. For as little as $1 a month, you can get 2 bonus podcasts with this guy, Radio Mike, the guy reading the ad. Sign up today, and at the $4.50 tier or above, you get a free sticker pack. That's patreon.com/radiomike. Your donation goes a long way to helping me keep doing this. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the show. 50 years after the events of the final Harry Potter books, and Harry Potter is now headmaster of Hogwarts, ready to usher in a brand new generation of witches and wizards. My name's Radio Mike, and I love Harry Potter. In fact, I love Harry Potter so much that when I was a kid, I wrote an entire series of fan fiction books based on Hogwarts. This is book 1 in that series. Welcome to Harry Potter and the Boys. Hello, amores, everyone. Welcome back to Harry Potter and the Boys. We're finally back after a hiatus, and who better to be the first step back for a few months than Sammy Garlepp?
Post. Oh, sorry. No, it is me. Oh, no. No, you'll have to settle for me.
Why would Jack Post be the best guest, though?
No, he's a great guy.
Yeah. He's about to have a baby, so that you could talk about that. Harry was a baby in the first book.
I've heard rumours Jack was thinking of putting a little, lightning bolt scar on the baby.
Imagine if someone got a tattoo of the Harry. Yeah, I just love Harry Potter. Yeah, you couldn't get like the Deathly Hallows on your shoulder or something? No.
That is, but also, a lot of people do have Harry Potter tattoos.
Yeah.
I feel like the Deathly Hallows is the most basic one.
And then the other most basic is always.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of a weird thought pattern. Like, if you have an always tattoo, right into the show, because it's basically like you're saying like a moment in which a middle-aged man professes his love for a woman he knew in high school and made a racist slur to, saying that he'll always love her, is so important to me that I want to put that on my arm.
Yeah, so guys, if you're still harbouring a crush from high school, write in, get a tattoo of your message, always.
This is the first episode back. I apologize that we went on hiatus. It just got really hard to do this via Zoom, and I love doing the in-person one, so I thought, let's just wait. We've got 3 or 4 chapters left for the rest of the first book, and then we will dive into book 2, which is very, very exciting. What's so funny about that?
I just still can't believe there's another book. I mean, the listeners, including myself, we have been waiting. It's been a long hiatus, and I've appreciated the little updates in between. Those were really good.
Oh yeah, I sometimes did a couple bonuses. Yeah,
but it just feels like it's been so long on book 1. And you were talking about franchises in the last update of the Fantastic Beasts spreading it out. I feel like you're doing the exact same thing here.
No, because J.K. Rowling originally did 7.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm actually just doing what she did, and then maybe I'll do a spin-off. But it is really exciting because a few people did message me and were like, hey, because the last chapter with Jackie Hutton, great chapter, a real revolutionary chapter, and it did leave on kind of a cliffhanger. And a lot of people were like, hey, Mike, was The Man with No Anus the final chapter? Because it felt like quite an abrupt ending.
Yes. So I feel like I do need a bit of a catch-up.
Yeah, okay, so the catch-up basically is the boys have... It kind of followed the ending to the Philosopher's Stone book, where they were going through various chambers and etc. And they've ended up in this big room, and Mr. Charger, the villainous teacher of the entire book, has removed his pants, and I think there was a joke because I think at first he just took his pants off and he's just, showing his penis to them, and then they're like, wait, what are we supposed to be seeing here? And then he's like, oh, sorry. And then he turns around, and I think where it left off was where a bumhole should have been, there was a face.
There was a face.
Which is, obviously a parallel to Professor Quirrell's
Yeah.
revelation in Philosopher's Stone.
I mean, and it's incredible they didn't use that for the real movie. I mean, it probably would have put a few more bums on seats, so to speak.
Yeah. Professor Quirrell removes his turban. There's no face on the back of his head. He actually wore the turban so he can wipe away all the poo. So you can see.
He lifts up his cloak or his smock. I don't know what he's wearing.
Yeah. But thanks everyone for your patience. I really appreciate it, and we will be going week to week from now. I guess lockdown's over. Tell me about that. Okay, for video viewers of the podcast, I forgot. And I've forgotten how to do a podcast, but you would have just seen the podcast artwork for a bit there. Before we get into reading the fanfic, I do want to plug your show that you're working on, The Cheap Seats, on Channel 10 here in Australia. And I'm sure if you are international, you could check it out possibly with a VPN on 10play.
Yep.
So Sammy Garlepp is a writer on the show, and Tim McDonald, who has been on this show as well, is hosting the show.
Yeah.
Do you want to just talk a little bit about that? Because it's a huge thing for you, and I'm really proud of you, man.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, it is great, and it's been good timing during lockdown because I work every weekend writing and researching. So I'm finding all the funny videos and a little few gags, feed them on to Tim. Yep. He says, those are terrible. I'll use my own. And I still get paid. So,
which is actually what he said when he came on this show. It was like, so here's the fanfic. It's like, no, this is terrible. I'll use my own. And then we did a different fanfic. Yeah.
But no, Tim, and he is so funny, and he's working so hard on it, and he so deserves it. It's great. It's awesome.
And Mel Bracewell is hosting it alongside Tim. But yeah, I think it's really cool because obviously, like, I went to school with you and Tim, and I sort of have seen you guys since, because I was still at school when you guys started doing little comedy things and the Melbourne Uni Law Review and sketches and stuff. So to me, it's really awesome and inspiring to see like a bunch of people who you've worked with over the years now suddenly doing a TV show on a commercial network in Australia. So if you're in Australia, it's Tuesday nights at 8:30.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely check it out on Channel 10. It's really funny and
if you really want some me, you can listen out for my laugh because I'm there and I laugh in the background. And that's the only part that I'm in.
Do you get annoyed that, because you were saying off air, like, you know, you write some of the jokes for the show that make the air, but like obviously you're not delivering them. It's either Tim or Mel.
Yeah.
Do you want to put like a little sideline in each joke being like a Sammy Garlepp original? So like Tim says the joke and then he has to go a Sammy Garlepp original.
That's the thing. The thing is, I'm the guy that puts it onto 10play, so I put that in. If you watch it on 10play, you'll get a Sammy Garlepp original. And every I just sneak that audio in.
You should actually like do an episode. There's a truck
Sammy's
driving
car.
past the window, which we opened the window because it was hot in here, and we were like, do you reckon it'll be too loud? And I was like, no, it'll be fine.
It won't be.
Now there's a big truck.
There's a garbage truck.
Yeah. But yeah, you should record yourself watching the 10play version and just after every single one be like, a Sammy Garlepp original.
That was me. I do that at home.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I wait to see who laughs in my house, and I go, that was me.
Yeah,
and then if there's no laugh, I don't admit it.
But if there's no laugh, you're like, I actually didn't write that one. So yeah. All right.
Sorry, yeah.
Should we dive into the fanfic?
Let's dive in to the fanfic. And as we always say, I can't remember.
Oh, no, that's later. That's when we get the chapter title. I'll grab the laptop. The laptop that has the holy Bible of this show, Harry Potter and the Boys. And I believe today we venture into chapter 30.
Wow.
Which I'm pretty sure the first Harry Potter was only like, I don't know, maybe 20 chapters long.
Yeah.
But we've gone an extra 10.
Just sounds like a year 7 you just didn't know how to wrap up a story.
So I'm going to pass over the laptop to you, Sam.
Okay.
And as we always say here on the Harry Potter and the Boys podcast, and it's great to say this again.
I can't believe we're back.
We start by reading the title of the chapter. Chapter 30, Sammy Garlepp, take it away.
Chapter 30, the teacher whose bum was Voldemort. So if we left on a cliffhanger, and if you're wondering, I wonder whose face on the bum, they spoiler it in the exact next line.
And J.K. Rowling Chapter 20, Professor Quirrell's face. The back of Professor Quirrell's face was Voldemort. You can skip this chapter. but also, like, you'd never see a chapter with that title in any other book, would you? The teacher
whose bum was Voldemort.
And the last chapter title was The Man with No Anus. So that was like a subtle way of doing it. And then it's like, hey, in case you didn't figure it out, this is what it was.
I feel like this is just going to be the exact same chapter as the last one with much more exposition, in case you didn't get it.
All right, the teacher whose bum was Voldemort. Just imagine this like at our school, like a teacher just pulls their pants down, there's a face on their bum.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that because teachers aren't allowed to pull their pants down. That's red flag.
In public.
In public.
Well, they are allowed to.
When they go home,
they
are allowed
They can have their pants on, off, halfway down.
Although I always imagined as a kid that our teachers, they just literally had nothing else on in their life. I imagine that they just stayed at school late because they wanted to help with homework or whatever. They go home, they correct their homework, maybe have dinner, and then go to bed fully clothed, standing up.
And they read the book. They read the English book and just double check all the messages. Yeah.
And then
it is kind of weird to, when you're at school, to realize like your teacher like has a sex life and they have like a social life. Like they go to the movies, they play tennis, maybe, all this stuff. Yeah. It's like, no, you don't.
A mate of mine is now a teacher at our old school.
Does he have a sex life?
A massive sex life.
I've got to cut that now. No.
He shares so much sex.
Yeah, well, all right.
No one wanted to hear that.
Okay, here we go. How do we return to this magical world?
Okay, back into the world. Now, we've just said the teacher whose bum was Voldemort.
Yes.
It wasn't a normal face. The eyes were red, and instead of nostrils, there were snake-like slits.
And that is possibly one of the... Like, that feels like it could have been drawn from the Harry Potter books themselves. Like,
I would be interested... Please someone go to when they revealed Voldemort's face. I think you might have copied it word for word.
I think it might actually be copied word for word. Someone check that, please. Amy, I hope you're still listening, the Amy's.
If the Amy's have held on this long, congratulations.
Congrats, guys.
Well done.
Congratulations.
We'll cut that.
Well, yeah, we'll cut that.
It was the face of Voldemort. This explains everything, yelled Michael. Yes, it does. But just in case someone in the room didn't understand, and they're not saying I don't, because I do, could you please explain it quickly again, said Rob.
And that kind of fits the fact that kind of in a weird way, it fits that because the show's been on hiatus for so long, so it almost does feel like we do kind of need a recap. But
Rob is the listener right now.
Rob, the character, I love this insecurity because it's like, hey, like, obviously, it's obvious what's going on here.
There's a face and a bum. We all know who it is.
Yeah, but someone, I can't speak for everyone. Someone might not know what it is. So could you let me know? Just maybe you should vocalize what's going on here.
Yeah, in case Rob thinks that everyone actually has face in their bums and he's the odd one out. Yeah. I mean, when you're a young kid at school, it's a tumultuous time. You don't know what's normal, what's not.
It is possible. Rob's just like, okay, so either everyone has this and this isn't normal, in which case I'm the freak.
Yeah.
That just reminded me, when you're in like grade 2 and you walk into the primary school toilets, if you're a guy, and some kid hasn't learnt yet that when you pee at a urinal, you don't have to pull your whole pants
all the way down to your ankles.
There are kids in primary school who pull their pants down to their ankles. So you walk in, you see the urinal, and you just see a kid's bum. Yeah,
sort of like this. That has brought up a vivid memory of a guy from my primary school, and I think he took it. It was just too long, Like year 2, that's okay. Year 3, it's a bit off.
Year 6, it's like you have to have learned that it's a whip out. You do not need to take it all down.
You learn what the flies are for at that point, I think. Anyway.
But imagine in this scenario, Mr. Charger's at the urinal. He forgets that he has Voldemort in his bum. It's like, okay, I'm just going to ignore that, sir.
Let's move on from that.
Let's move on.
So can you explain it quickly again, said Rob. Wait, actually? Said Michael. Rob, do you seriously not understand what's happening here?
And I guess like it is a valid thing to bring up because like I feel like if you've read Harry Potter, you understand that this is a like a parody of what happened with Professor Quirrell. But I guess if you haven't read Harry Potter, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, if you were living this for the first time, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What?
Who
Where's that
thinks
face?
of this? Yeah.
Is that stitched? Is that what's happening? Anyway, I'd be confused. We won't talk about how they poo.
No, well, it could come up.
Okay, let's see. I mean, I'm sure it will.
Knowing this book.
No, I do understand. But just explain it, because I don't know if Ron Weasley understands, said Rob. No, I understand, said Ron.
I've got it. No need to explain. If it's for me, there is no need to explain. So feel free to move on.
Let's move on. Then goes to Michael. Okay, then no need to explain, said Michael. Well, I think you should just explain. Mr. Charger has fucking Voldemort's face on his fucking ass, Rob, okay? Yelled Michael. I had to say ass, because you've written ass.
Rob must be like, oh yeah, no, I bloody picked that much up. Come on, do you think I'm an idiot?
I was talking about something else. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Rob looked over at Mr. Charger's ass. You know, we do write ass.
So you want it to be, I guess I do, like, because you want it to be A-R-S-E, but I've spelt it A-double-S.
When you write A-double-S, are you thinking arse? Or?
I guess so. Well, like, I mean, step into the mind of me in year 7. I maybe didn't even know there was 2 spellings.
It's incredible you know there was 1 spelling of a lot of these words. Just given our education. Okay. Rob looked over at Mr. Charger's ass. Oh dear stinky lord, no, said Rob.
You never say that. You know, oh no. My dear beloved God.
Yeah, oh my stinky God. Yeah.
Oh my stinky God. Like, I love the fact that in this world, stink is an aspect of, like, being a dark wizard. Like, you must smell.
Yeah, that's interesting. You don't often associate that.
And also, like, you'd think, like, if Professor Snape was going to Voldemort, my dear stinky lord, I worship you, and like you'd be like, come on, I'm not stinky. I may be evil. Bloody, I'd put deodorant on.
And it also would kind of take away from the threat, you know, because you associate them with like darkness and bloodlust or whatever. And you can just imagine if Voldemort was there with Harry and Voldemort and all these cronies, and he comes to Harry's like, time to whatever he says, time to finish.
Come to die.
And Harry's like, oh,
I'm sorry. Can we stop, please?
They're like, can you smell that?
Smell what? There's body odor.
You're like, Voldemort, you kind of smell a bit like poo. A bit like, there's a bit of poo. Like, it's not, you guys smell, and then going around to all the Death Eaters, like, you guys notice this? And they're like, yeah, to be honest, yeah, you do actually. Voldemort, you do smell.
You do smell.
Like, I don't know if you're not wiping or like what's going on there, but anyway.
Well, sorry, everyone. I'll go home and fix it up. I don't know. My Voldemort voice is not very accurate.
No, I know. We're out of practice.
Yeah.
But I'll just say that would undermine the evilness.
It would undermine
if stink was involved.
But that's the thing. Like, in this part of the Harry Potter timeline, that is now a good thing for evilness. But that's why we're confused, because the Harry Potter franchise we know and love, a stinky Dark Lord would not be as threatening as just a Dark Lord.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
Just to clear it up.
The next line. Finish him, servant!
That was
yelled
pretty good.
The face of Voldemort. Of Lord Voldemort. Avada Kedavra! But Mr. Charger was interrupted. Evadius! Shouted Derek.
And that's interesting because, again, like, over the course of the book, if people remember, like, Derek, this idiotic boy, has been, like, really stupid, but there's, like, hints of him being this really strong wizard, which is there's something going on there. And Evadius, I think, was a spell we learnt in Defense Against the Dark Farts class earlier in the book. So clearly Derek is retaining information, right?
I forgot about Defense Against the Dark Farts, which is great. We've come so far. Derek, yelled the boys, puzzled. As in, they yelled it all together in unison, I imagine. The spell was blocked. I don't know. Blocked? You can't block Avada Kedavra.
But in the future, they've invented spells that can.
Have that? Are you just making that up?
Well, I think they must have, because it's like, hey guys, you know what we need? Because it seems like you can invent spells, like Professor Snape invented spells, right? So it's like someone at some point must have been like, guys, you know what we just haven't invented? A spell that can just block the killing curse.
Yeah, like they're like, we need to do like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, technology or like maybe a vaccine for something that's killing people, and they're like, why don't we make something that could, you know, help that? But you know, I don't want to get all political on your podcast. Okay, the spell was blocked. Yeah, I also like that I just said, are you just making this up? Then I realized you've made up the entire thing. So there's no point observing that.
That's what an author does. They create a world.
All right. This is a lot of this in capitals. Derek, son, you of all people, surely a wizard as young and idiotic as you couldn't block my spell. Only a full-grown, talented wizard could. Said Mr. Charger. Sorry, said Mr. Charger after it's all in capitals.
Yeah, he didn't yell it.
Vada Kedavra, he yelled.
Wow.
But this time, oh my God, Derek couldn't block the killing curse. Ron Weasley was dead.
Wow. And this is what it felt like when Han Solo died in Star Wars Episode 7. Spoiler alert.
Oh my God.
This is our first legacy character death.
Wow. And I'm sorry I read that out in so shocked, because I was just shocked.
But also, like, Ron hasn't really been a big character in this, so I don't really feel the loss.
No, was he a teacher at this point?
Yeah, he was a professor. He was the Dark Farts professor.
Right.
Yeah. Couldn't even block an Avada Kedavra. Loser.
And this is kind of goes along with the Harry Potter canon, as the Dark Farts teacher is often replaced.
That's true. I didn't even think of that.
Well, give yourself some credit.
You know, book 1 of 7, and we've already lost Ron. Who knows how Harry's going to fare?
Well, he hasn't been good for a while.
No, he's
Ron, don't worry. All right, Ron Weasley was dead. Holy shit, I still can't believe that.
Wow, huge. Write in your reaction.
You fucking idiot, Derek, said Michael. Why couldn't you block that one too?
So, you know, they're blaming Derek. It's like, well, you blocked the first one. You couldn't fucking block the second one too.
He's just on this incredible spell that no one's ever heard of.
2 people could have died, right? But, you know, Derek saved one of them. Jesus Christ, don't blame the poor kid.
He's just trying.
Anyway.
Now, Crucio, yelled Mr. Charger, pointing his wand at Michael.
Crucio, the torture curse, extreme pain.
Yeah, which is implied with the next line. Ah! Michael screamed in pain. So I gather, even if you didn't know what Crucio was, you'd expect it was giving you pain. Ow! Sorry, guys.
Ow! Sorry, guys.
Say bye to the others for me. From me.
So the Crucio has caused him so much pain that he thinks he's gonna die. So he's like, hey, Al, say bye to the others. It's like, I can't be bothered with this shit. Catch you guys. Good luck with it.
Are they all in the room and he's saying goodbye to the other? Look, I'm just gonna say bye to one of you.
No, I don't think that some of the boys aren't there.
Right. Yeah, say bye to the others from me.
I think Tom left earlier because something happened to him and his bum started bleeding. And the iconic line which Dave Ferrier read out when he was on the pod, which was, "My bum may be bleeding, but my heart isn't. Go on without me."
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah.
And then there was then you guys had a big chat about bum bleeding for a bit.
Hemorrhoids. Which I've had. There's no shame in it. Have you had them?
I haven't had them.
Sounds like you have, but you're ashamed. So you need to work on that.
There is some shame involved, but there is a little bit of shame. But still, if you've had hemorrhoids, write in.
Yeah. Write in with excruciating detail. We want to know every bit of it.
Absolutely. So, say by the others from me, he said his final word. So it really is saying...
So Michael and Ron Weasley have both died. And Michael, let's be real, one of the main characters. Probably the main character. The main boy.
I mean, this is essentially you killing off yourself.
Yeah. And can I say, this is a huge chapter already. So much has happened.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Well, now Ron's died. This guy's died. We know it's Voldemort. This guy, Michael.
Crazy.
I did want to touch on Ron. This is not related to the fanfic.
Yeah.
Ron, I was watching Goblet of Fire recently.
Me too.
Oh, it was on TV.
No, I just started watching it on like Netflix or something. Well, but go on.
I just took Umbridge.
Ooh.
There's a bit of a...
She was in the 5th movie,
Yeah,
so
anyway.
I was moody about. That's probably would have want to go down that route.
Ron and Harry were so at the Yule Ball were so rude to the Patil twins.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
Like watching it, I was like, Ron, you are an asshole, and
Like-
so I'm glad he's dead. like.
All the good stuff he did, goes out the window because of that. But yeah, Harry spends the whole night ogling Cho Chang, and Ron spends the whole night ogling Hermione.
Yeah, and Parvati and Padma, so nice.
Yeah,
so
gorgeous, and they, hey, we'll go to the formal with you. We like you guys. You're cool.
And then they're not even going to go, oh, we'll dance with you for 1 second. I think, and controversial opinion, I know there's a lot of at the Yule Ball, there's a lot of fans of Hermione coming out, a lot of Fleur Delacour fans. I reckon Parvati Patil was the most beautiful girl that night.
There you go.
And I'm in her corner, and I can't believe they pretended like she wasn't.
Harry was with Parvati, right? And then Ron was with Padma, who in the books, Padma is a Ravenclaw while Parvati is a Gryffindor, which is interesting. Which implies that Padma is smarter than Parvati. So imagine whipping that out at the family Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Well, I'm smarter than you. After sorting out. You might be brave, but I'm smarter.
Also, they replaced the actor of Parvati after the third movie, and she was replaced from the 4th onwards.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You're right, man. Like, Ron is such a dickhead.
Ron was a dickhead.
Yeah.
And the Parvati and Padma deserve better. Anyway, let's just...
I mean, maybe they'll pop up in this book.
This is a guy holding on to a high school crush until later in life. I've got the tattoo.
Write in, actually, I was going to say write in who you thought was the most beautiful at the Yule Ball, but you don't have to do that. That's fine. We don't,
Victor Crumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, these are teenage characters at this point. Like, we were teenagers when we saw the movies, but we are no longer teenagers, so I don't think we can comment on the attractiveness of these characters anymore.
Let's cut that. Okay. All right. So... Michael just said his final words. Michael! No! Yelled Lockie.
Wow.
Dead? Dead? You monster! Shouted Rob. I didn't even get to say I was sorry.
Quick pause. 5 minutes ago, Rob didn't even know what was fucking going on.
Yeah.
Quick change. Now he knows everything.
Now
he knows. He had to say dead twice to accept it.
Dead. That
Dead.
means
Wait,
bad. Dead is bad.
Michael equals dead. That means not alive, which means Michael no more play game me school class friend. Oh my god.
No homework. This affects me. Now it affects me. Now I'm angry.
You monster.
And he goes on, I'm sorry. A tear dropped from his eye. Wow, we're getting an emotional.
And this feels very I don't know if it was influenced by this, but this feels... Do you remember the Peter Pan movie from 2007?
Yeah.
Where it's like, Tinkerbell dies, and it's like, I do believe in fairies. I do. And they're all crying, and Tinkerbell comes back to life. Yeah, this feels very much like this.
That's another one where a friend of mine, she's like, oh, that Peter Pan movie, like, he was so hot. And I guess another thing where...
Jeremy Sumpter is the name of the actor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where we watched it.
Movie.
I guess we watched it when we were younger.
At
the same age of that. But I'm like,
he's
you
like
probably...
11.
Yeah, and she's like 29 now. So probably out of the... Yeah. So Rob continues. Oh, no, it's not Rob. It's someone else. Oh, it's Derek. Yeah. He was my third best friend in the world. Right after Gemini Jones and Jet.
So
Derek.
I think Jijo Joji was
Jijo Joji.
I'm pretty sure he or she or they have been mentioned in this book before. Jijo Joji is, I think, Derek's imaginary friend, which is kind of shit that, like, Jijo Joji is not Derek's best friend, right? He's his second best friend, but yeah.
And it reminds me of The Simpsons Jojo Jr.
Joey Jojo Jr.
Joey Jojo Jr.
That's the worst name I've ever heard. Wait, Joey Jojo!
Hey, Joey Jojo!
That was good Barney.
Yeah,
that was great.
Do you want to try your Marge out? No, let's not.
Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo's here. He wants to talk about Harry Potter and the boys.
Oh, Marge, I'm busy. I'm with Lenny.
Hey, Marge.
Anyway,
I wish I didn't open up that can of worms, but there we are. Okay. Okay, and now the boys knew who was writing these notes for the whole time throughout the book. The ill-fated measures.
Oh, Harry figured out who was writing in the diary for the whole book. It was Ginny. What?
This whole book has been crazy, Harry said. What a crazy book. I mean, yeah.
What a crazy book. Good thing it's not real. I'm going home.
Sorry, that's
Harry, you forgot to do your homework again.
Sorry, Professor Simpson.
Hey, Joey Jojo.
Sorry. Let's keep going.
Jesus.
Okay. A note fell from the basilisk, Harold's mouth. Oh,
So
the basilisk Harold.
Harold is the were-basilisk we've learned.
yes.
And,
So this whole time a basilisk the whole time this chapter, there's been a basilisk just chilling.
Yeah, a were-basilisk, different to a
Where
basilisk.
okay,
But yeah.
yep. It was Harold that was writing the notes. Okay, and if you read this book again, you'll notice that every time an ill-fated measure fell from the sky, I, the narrator, mentioned casually that Harold was nearby or in the scene.
Wow. And that's like, because you would probably not realize that the first. It's like what's a movie? It's like have you seen the movie Us, the horror movie Us?
No.
Okay, so at the end of the movie, there's a big twist you find out, the very end, right? Same as like the I See Dead People movie, right?
Yeah.
Big twist, and then you watch it again and you want to like pick up all the clues, right?
Yeah.
That's this.
Well, and it's like if you watched recently Squid Game.
Yes. Okay, that's a much more modern example.
If you haven't finished it, who cares? But I'm going to spoil it now. The old man who was actually the whole puppet master of the game.
So you sympathize with the old man for a lot of the show. Turns out he was the guy that was the puppet master.
And when you go back and watch it, there are scenes where, like when they were doing tug of war and they're all chained to the rope, he's actually not chained to it.
It's very interesting. So that's kind of like this. But I've said this in the past. A lot of this book was inspired by the book Holes by Louis Sacca, which we did in year 7 at our school, right? And I wrote this in year 7. Now, the thing about Holes, which is a fantastic book for kids, and it's probably holds up for like a casual read for an adult, but like
Stanley Elnats, what a character.
But so much of that book is like every little detail that comes in that you kind of think is trivial ends up sort of becoming a core part of the story. And there's sort of 3 different storylines, past and present, that all end up intertwining together. And it's I think a lot of me doing this was me like trying to show like, hey, I can do that. But the thing with Louis Sacca is
the thing with Louis Sacca is he didn't give himself a pat in the back near the end.
Louis Sacca didn't go like, now that Stanley is carrying Zero up the mountain, this is actually, if you remember earlier in the past, Stanley Yelnatz's great-grandfather and Zero's great-grandmother did the same thing. So that's actually what I'm referring to here.
And I just like this. The narrator, mentioned casually that Harold was nearby or in the scene, but didn't draw too much attention to it. So you're basically being like, yeah, I actually did it really well, and none of you saw it coming.
Yeah. But it would be interesting to go back. Like, if anyone re-listens to this, see if Harold is in the scenes, because it's like, is it just like, Harold was also in the room? And then, but yeah.
Well, there's no way I'm scrolling back to look.
Yeah, neither, to be honest, and I wrote the fucking thing.
Okay, it continues. Seriously, read the book again. I don't think you'd notice it the first time. Harold is there every time an ill-fated measure appears.
There you go.
In case there are any Robs there that didn't get it, it is there. Okay. Oh my god, I'm getting so nervous. Okay. Oh my god, I can't believe they're dead. As Michael and Ron Weasley's corpse lay on the ground, shuntingly. What?
Now, we do read this book out of Microsoft Word, so there is a red underline under the word shuntingly, which does suggest that is not a word.
We can either go shuntingly, which I don't think is all that's with a hyphen in the middle, or shantingly. I've just gone for the corrections. I think it's none of those.
What do you think that I thought shuntingly meant? Because something in my mind was like, shuntingly.
That's a word. Yeah, as lay on the ground shuntingly.
What does a corpse do? It shunts. They are shuntingly lying on the floor.
Shunt off from the world.
So, I guess the word, shunt means lying motionless.
I don't know.
Yeah, but we may never know. Because
I don't remember. Rest in peace, they were both sick shunts. I don't know. Okay, shuntingly. We still don't know. Okay. Rob picked up the final ill-fated measure. Remembering the prophecy... Oh, Jesus. The final ill-fated measure, remembering the prophecy from Professor Brown earlier in the book. At 10, one will die.
And this is the 10th ill-fated measure, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. What is this?
Okay. This is in italics, so it is the 10th. Okay.
I think this is what is written on this 10th ill-fated measure.
The 10th, the final ill-fated measure. He is gone. Now it is time. It is ready. It will come. It will come, and two will be one. Legame potente. The third, the bond is restored. Now,
let's decode.
That didn't make a lot of sense to me.
And also, several words are bolded.
Several words are bolded. So
is it a hidden message?
So I'll read out the bolded words out of this whole thing. He, time, it, 2, 1. Legame potente, the third, the bond is restored.
And what was I think it might have been you on a chapter earlier where it was like legame rotto, and we translated it, and it was broken link in Latin. So should we go onto Google Translate and type in? I'll grab the laptop off you. There you go. We'll go onto Google Translate and we'll see what legame potente translates to, because this is some serious shit.
Because the rest of it really sounded a bit like a Spice Girls song. It was to become
to become
one.
So legame potente translates to powerful
bond. Okay.
This is getting pretty crazy.
So we've got,
and it says the bond is restored.
Powerful bond the third, the bond is restored.
But do you think that's to do with how, because the whole last 10 chapters, Rob and Michael have been fighting, and then Rob said, I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye, started crying in our I do believe in fairies type moment. Okay. Is that what the restored bond is?
Oh, that maybe that their bond is, maybe they're doing a little love bond like Lily and Harry.
But then it says two will become one, which is... quite
some love that I never knew before. Now I'm your baby. And to become one.
But I worry, we're talking to 11-year-old boys here. You don't really think two become one. That's not, anyway.
No, but it will come and two will be one. That doesn't, anyway.
And then it says, it is ready, it will come, now it is time. Legame potente, the third, the bond is restored.
We don't know what it means. Maybe the characters will shed a bit more light.
Possibly, but I don't think they know.
Okay.
We know the answer.
Well, what the shitity fuck does that mean? Asked Rob.
What the shitity fuck? In your emails this week, start every email with, hey Mike, what the shitity fuck was that all about?
You writing this as a kid would just be like, this is hilarious. And it is. And it is.
The word shitity as a adverb or an adjective.
You're like, I've just made a new swear word. Yeah. Amazing.
Shuntingly, shitty, words coming out the wazoo. I'm a modern
shitty
Shakespeare.
Shunt. Whoops. We yelled at as we do have an open window and there was a child going past.
No, so I don't know if you noticed this when you drove here. On the side of my house, there is quite a well-known landmark. You didn't see that? So
no.
when people stop outside the window, they're not looking at us, they're looking at the landmark.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show you when you leave.
All right. It's a statue with a man who's got a face on his bum. People are very interested around here, these parts. Hang on a sec, said Lockie. Sometimes I smell farts that I haven't done yet, said Derek.
Which is remarkable.
Which is remarkable. That is
like, oh, that sounds like next week's fart. That's early.
I think I'm going to fart soon, and I can smell it. It is incredible, Derek. But I'll just say, not the time.
Yeah, not the time.
Probably
not the time for that. Yeah, two people are dead. Two are about to become one.
They've just read this message, and he's just revealing. Look, sometimes I smell farts that I haven't done yet. Anyone else?
Guys, I know this isn't the appropriate time to say it, but I did want to put it out there.
I want to put it out there in case we all die.
Yeah.
No,
I wanted people to know this about me. Is this normal? Do you guys smell farts you haven't done yet?
sometimes I have hemorrhoids and my bum bleeds.
Yeah.
You know. No, I don't. Stop it, all of you, said Mr. Charger. Don't you see that you've lost, foolish young boys? The job is complete. That blood traitor Weasley is dead. Oh, that was said Voldemort, whose breath smelled like farts if you stood close enough.
Which is like,
which does make sense,
but it doesn't feel like any of the characters are close enough to know that information. So that's just like the narrator throwing us a bone. Hey, just so you know, Voldemort's breath smells like farts.
If you ever get close enough, it will smell like farts, but that's just purely trivial. Yes, my dark and stinky lord, said Mr. Charger, bending over to put his head beneath his legs so he could look at his bum. In brackets, Voldemort.
So Mr. Charger, to talk to Voldemort, has to do this. Like, hey, how are you?
You'd have to be very flexible.
Yeah.
You couldn't quite make it then.
I couldn't, no.
No, I'm kidding. Mike did do it. He put his legs completely above his head.
Well, check the video
incredible.
version. Yeah.
Like that was a feat I could not
achieve.
Yep. Yeah. So, yes, at his bum, in brackets, Voldemort.
Just in case we forgot.
Yeah. And finally, Vladek's friend has been avenged.
So who is Vladek? He's not been mentioned before in the book. And this is one of the last chapters. And also, it's not even him that's been avenged, it's his friend. And that being said, J.K. Rowling did often, like in the first book, I think Sirius Black is mentioned a couple of times, right? But we don't know who he is, so it's just like, oh, it's just a passing reference. That won't come into play.
Little did we know.
He actually becomes a major player in the franchise.
Yeah. Spoiler alert if you haven't, got that far
read
yet.
Harry Potter. If this is your first experience of Harry Potter, wow. It's not all like this.
But it could be. Subscribe to Mike's Patreon.
Thumbs up, comment.
Who on earth is Vladek?
So this is Rob speaking.
Rob speaking.
He has a similar response.
There's already enough characters in this story to introduce a new one in one of the last few chapters, said Rob.
So Rob has the exact reaction of us.
Rob is really acting as the audience here. It's great. Quiet, boy. Puccio. Is that a spell? A great beam of brown light shot out of Voldemort's mouth, which was also Mr. Charger's bumhole.
Okay, so that's pretty disgusting.
I love that, though. Also, what does a brown light look like? I mean, you really don't picture brown lights often.
It's like a black light.
Yeah.
But also just like, this does answer a question of like, at some point, Mr. Charger has to be like, oh, my dark and stinky lord, I must defecate now. I am so sorry. And just be like,
and he's like, if you must,
I will allow it.
Oh, yeah. And he'd be like, not today, not today.
It's like the human centipede.
Oh, God, gross. Oh, yeah, is that what happened in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
It came out 10 years ago.
Gross. I know, but I just hadn't thought about it for a while. Okay. Puccio was the dark farts version of Crucio, the torture curse.
Of course.
It caused the target to suffer extreme pain and also smell extreme poo.
Extreme poo. So it sounds like dark farts spells are just the normal spells with a pooey edge to them.
Little pooey zest.
So imagine you're in extreme pain. You're like, that stinks.
As well. That's horrible.
Yeah, it really makes it a bit more horrible.
That is much worse. You won't get away with this, said Lockie. And he was right. They wouldn't. In brackets, seriously, I wrote the book. I know what happens, so believe me.
Oh, well, that takes off.
And that's the end of the chapter. That's the opposite of a cliffhanger.
That's a cliff saver.
Yeah, that's I don't know, you're abseiling or you're that's
that's
climbing.
You've got a harness on for that one. Thank you for reading that.
No stress.
I am really excited to see where the next chapter goes.
But it does take a bit of zing out of it. They won't get away with it. We already know now.
Yeah, well, we don't. We're not really. Well, but Michael and Rob are dead.
That's true. So they've got away with they've got away with something.
They've got away. Well, maybe they don't get away with murder.
Yeah, but
Maybe they're all in Azkaban.
I reckon that as Ron and Michael, they wouldn't really care if justice was done. They'd probably rather be alive.
That's true, actually.
That's
That's just the sad reality.
That's the sad reality of it, guys.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that's
the past is the past, and you can't bring your loved ones back. Okay, and that's the message from this podcast. No, sorry.
Death is irreversible, guys. That was the message of the original Harry Potter, and it's prevailing here.
Yeah.
But I do have a feeling that I think we've seen already that in this Harry Potter timeline, death is reversible because I'm pretty sure
Malfoy.
Malfoy. And Derek, I think, died in one chapter as well. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm back now because I was too important to the story.
And again, considering that like 200 students died on the first day when Hagrid sat on them.
That's true.
I shouldn't be so shocked about these deaths.
So it does feel like maybe death just isn't a big deal in this. Yeah. But yeah, that was fun.
So fun. So great to be back. I feel like I'm a little bit it's great to speak out loud to another human again.
Yeah, man. Because I know on cheap seats, you're not allowed to talk. They just make you. Yeah.
They get me in. You
have to be silent.
Not only a mask, I have like a gag under my mask, so I can't speak.
Terrible.
I only have to take it off to laugh. Yeah. And they say 3, 2, 1, laugh, and then I laugh, and then I have to leave immediately.
And that's why there's no Sam Garlepp original.
But it is a great. But it is a great show, so watch that, I guess. But
cheap seats, 8:30 p.m. Tuesdays, Channel 10. We'll be back in 2022.
Just follow Tim McDonald on Insta. You can follow me on Instagram, I guess.
What's your Insta? Sammy Garlepp?
At Sam Garlepp.
Garlepp.
You know, and Tim and Sammy is our thing we do together.
Also, this has been a point of confusion for me. So, do you want me, because I put Sammy Garlepp in the description. Do you want it to be Sam Garlepp?
Nah.
Because your podcast with Tim is called Tim and Sammy.
Yeah.
And then there's Sam Garlepp. So it's just like, what the shitity fuck is this all about?
I like being Sammy Garlepp on this. Yeah,
cool. So for me, this podcast will now be coming out on Tuesdays, just so you know. If you want to support the pod, patreon.com/Radio Mike. I think that's pretty much it for this week.
Look, Mike, I hope I've done well, and I hope the listeners are happy with this as a return.
I think that was a great chapter to come back to. The teacher whose bum was Voldemort.
What's going to happen? We don't know.
We don't know.
But
the narrator does. He wrote it. Believe him. He knows it's all good.
I don't know. I feel like he's lied to us before.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. All right, guys. One final thing. Oh, you seem like you've got one thing.
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
One final thing is I want to do a shout out to a guy called Flynn, he is the guy that came up with Hello Homoras.
Oh.
And he saw me in the flesh a few weeks ago and was like, hey, I'm the guy that came up with Hello Homoras. And I was like, well, hello Homora to you. So shout out to Flynn. RadioMikePod@gmail.com if you want to write in, or radiomike.com.au/contact. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you for having me, and goodbye, Homoras.
Hey. Thanks for listening to this episode of Harry Potter and the Boys. Remember, if you want to see more of my stuff, you can head to radiomike.com.au. All of my content is there. And you can see full video podcasts of this podcast, full video versions of this podcast, rather, on my YouTube channel, radio.mike. Give it a subscribe. All my content goes up there, including my other podcast, 20th Century Boy, Mike Talks, and a bunch of other cool stuff too. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.